Hi, Binder. That's what couple minutes.
Hello, Dr.
Good. We're starting couple minutes. We wait for everyone. Hi, Binder.
Hello, Dr. Amos. Good evening.
Now you're going to push the new numbers.
Did you guys were able to figure out the installation for Daniel? Baba? The development site, the development project.
Beg your pardon again. I'm not able to hear you right now.
Are you able to set up for Daniel? Here's Daniel. In fact. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Jerome.
Hi, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Daniel's computer, Dr. Amos, we're able to finish everything, created the username, to enter the users.
Yeah, we'll wait another just couple more minutes and then we start, okay?
Okay.
However, I understood that most of the students had the installation good.
Yes.
Very good. Oh, just for the time being, Daniel, were you able to figure out the installation for your development? The development
Yes,
project.
yes, Dr. Amos, on Daniel's computer.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's Daniel, I see. Daniel, so were you successful
doctor.
to install the development project?
Yes, doctor.
Very good. We have to figure out the problem you get with the CMS
Yes.
for the, so it will work for the projects the way it works for the courses.
Okay.
So, okay, very good. I think we should start. I'm recording also the session, and whoever is going to join us will be able to see the video, okay? We're not going to have those sessions to be too long. Top will be an hour and a half, or between an hour to an hour, 15 minutes every session. We'll give you a lot of material for all of that. So, and I would do really recommend you do reading. You know, you're in a modern life today. I'll be honest with you, if you don't have the skill of self-studying, you do not have the ability to solve problem by yourself, if you don't have research ability, exploration, analysis, please pay attention. I haven't mentioned knowledge intentionally, okay? Because knowledge is so huge those days, and the internet is so full of it that if you only spend time on learning knowledge, your knowledge is not really valuable. And you'll end up knowing something that, in a year or two, it's useless because the world is changing so fast. So what's really important is the skills, a skill to search, a skills to analyze, a skill to put things together. Okay. I'm going to start with a really something I'm working on now, and Brenda knows I just started the installation with her this week for the corporate valuation. Okay. Let me start it as an example to encourage everybody that has a doubt why this course is so important and it's really a very good building block for any career you choose. If you want to be an engineer, you want to be a finance person, you want to be an economist, you want to be an engineer, whatever, you really do need that kind of a skill. If it depends on me, I will make it like a mandatory course in high school, okay? Definitely in college if you haven't had it before. Let me start with an example. I'm going to share my screen, show you something I'm actually working on. It just really is an example, so don't think this is the only things you can use it for. You can use it for a lot of things. So I will share with you something. This is a website of a very distinguished professor from NYU. It's a New York university, very respectable university, one of the best in the world. And he is teaching a corporate valuation. His name is Ashwat Demodar. But if you look at his website, see how scattered it is. This is his course in valuation. And if you look and you have a good eyes, a lot of that is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay? Very, very crowded. Looks like nice and blah, blah, blah. But when you really dive into, you'll get lost. Take my word for it. Okay? You look at his website, you said, oh my God, there's no way you can really manage it. Moreover, let me show you a valuation that he has done. I don't know how many of you follow the stock market. I do. That's what I do for a living. Okay? But if you look at his Excel, there's so many, the Excel is so big, interconnected, and if you put data here, it would affect on another field. You see all of that. You can tell this professor, with all due respect, he really easily can get his student lost. It looks like a complicated course, but it really isn't. It's much simpler than it looks like. Look at how many Excels he has. You get totally lost. Definitely this guy doesn't know anything about databases, okay? This is a huge Excel, okay? Now, amazingly enough, and Brenda, no, we did at least this week. We actually did it, and we're going to work on it. In fact, we're going to do a much better product than this one. Even my first version, which I did last year, it's 10 times better than this one. If you look at this one, see how elegant it is. You have only, you have all the companies in the US. Let me refresh it. This is instead of an Excel. By the way, all this Excel I showed you, it's only for one company. So for every company, you'll have to do all of that over and over. It's crazy. It really is crazy. Okay? This one, for example, using the Academy City platform, basically you have all the companies. I can click here and choose, let's say, a company called 3M, and see how beautiful. All the data look like in Excel. It's already Excel, by the way. Not Excel at all. This is a real website. And this one is able to connect to the stock exchange, totally different place. It's in the US, and pull the data for this company, data from 2012 to 2020. On the other hand, if you look at his Excel, whoever wants to use his valuation Excel has to put the data manually by himself. That's crazy, okay? It really is crazy, honestly. And then this is his output, and then all of that will be manually. This is crazy. I don't think this is a way in the 21st century to use Excel like that. It's crazy. By the way, a lot of people approached me. That's why I went back to this valuation to replace all this stuff. And that's why I will work with Brenda. In fact, we'll have one more person join us to make this one really nicely. Moreover, the calculation is automatically done. This one is automatically finding out that the data is not complete. You pull the data, but the stock exchange doesn't have data. that's not applicable. You can go back to data and you can tell there's no data here. So I'll just make, let's say I'll put a 0. See how efficient it is. You know, when I'm changing the data, this is behaving like an Excel. It is not Excel. It's updating a database. And that's one first concept I want you from today's session. We're going to talk about database and what is the role of a database. I'm just demonstrating, and then we will go very nicely organized way to explain really what we're doing. By the way, it's again, the interest here, I'll put 0, it will update the database. How do you know that I'm not cheating you? How do you know I'm not cheating you and it's actually updating somewhere? The way you know it is if I will refresh, all the data is gone. I'm putting the data again. I'm choosing the same company. Those data already updated. You see that? Then you know that I'm actually really didn't lie to you. Okay? There's one more place. Effective, that's interest coverage ratio. I'll just change that one to 10. It doesn't really make much difference for this example. And that's for a different course. I won't get into that. The key point for our purposes is can I organize my data in an efficient and a manageable way? The answer is yes, when you know really databases. So that's concept number 1 for today. Let me write it down even. Okay, let me open a text one. I'll open a file. Let's write it. Concept number 1 for today will be okay. Let me start. Concept number 1 will be databases. Okay, and really what we'll do today, it's really understanding what the objective of today. Understand a web application structure. Okay, and what is it, a web application? So we'll start by some concept and then I will connect them and then we'll understand what a web application is. Maybe I should even write it that way. That's really the objective. And then we'll see how the installation you have done the last week really have all those elements. Okay. So step number one is we have a database. What do we do with a database? We organize information. The second element that you have in a web application, you really need to know a programming language. And we're going to use Python. Now, many people ask me, why Python? Very good question, because, by the way, there are so many excellent other programming language. I myself know several of them. C#, Java, JavaScript, R is a very good program for analysts and whoever does data science. R is an excellent program. I even wrote several articles using this programming language. But what is a programming language? And a programming language really has the ability to take a data and manipulate it. So you can think about it, database is to keep the data, and a language is can take the data and manipulate it. Moreover, the manipulated data can be presented in many ways. And usually we present things in a web page. That's the third concept that we want to talk about today, a web page. A web page, many students think they do already know what a web page. You all the day you know, you look at the internet, you're exploring the internet, you think that you know what a web page is. But my impression is that, and my experience is that people don't already know what a web page is. So I'm gonna demonstrate it today, and the next few sessions will get much more bigger examples of what a web page is. Okay, but those are the three concepts that every student really should know. What a database is and know how to use it, to know a programming language, and to know what a web page is, because this is a presentation. By the way, each one of those, okay, is kind of known professionally as a layer. This one known as the data layer. It's a layer in which we keep the data, the information, okay? This one, it's called professionally as the logical layer. And finally, this one called or known as presentation layer. So every system, every web that you know already has those three components: data layer, logical layer, and web page. Now, I will start from the third one because I want to take kind of a myth that a lot of students, and I know that students don't have that knowledge. And I will start with this one as an example. What is a web page? Anybody wants to guess what a web page is? Anybody? You're more than welcome to try. Don't be ashamed. I didn't know myself when I first started. Anybody know what a web page is? Anybody want to try? Go ahead, guys. Don't be shy. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, doctor, we do hear you.
Yeah, okay. Anybody want to give us a chance? Don't worry. You know, there's no such a thing as a wrong answer. Okay? All right, let me try it. Let me start with you. Okay? Let me get it. Look at this file. It's some file. Let me open it. Open is, no, I don't want that. Open with other application, with the text editor. Okay, there's a file here. Okay, you know what? I will even delete the whole things just to make it. This is an empty text file. By the way, whoever noticed, just a comment, really not belonging to exactly this course. I'm using a different operating system known as Linux. You're most likely using Windows, so some of my presentation looks a little odd to you, but this is really what recommended for professional programmers or professional computer scientists. Very good. Whoever using a Mac, it's very close to the operating system on the Mac. Okay, so if that looks a little strange, so just be aware this is just because I'm using a different operating system. Anyway, I'm gonna make my first HTML website. Look how simple it is. And I'm going to write my name. As simple as it is. And my question is, let me save it. Okay, I just saved it. And my question is this a web page? Anybody? What do you say? Liam, what do you think? Is that a web page? Can you hear me, Liam?
My internet is slow, so it hasn't yet loaded. I can't see it.
Is it a web page or not?
No.
Why not? Let's try it. Let's double click on it. Let's open it with a Chrome. Fair enough. I'm opening it with a Chrome. What do I see on the Chrome? It says my name here. Pretty cool. It is sitting, so this is Linux, so you don't really see the C drive, but this is a simple text file. And the only things the text file has is really just my name. By the way, if I learn the syntax of HTML, I can add a lot of other things, okay?
Thomas.
This is such a simple text. It is a web page. Yeah, it is. And by the way, if I want, I can, if I know a little bit HTML, I can add a blank
Doctor,
page.
we are not able to see your screen.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Ah, sorry about it. Thank you for telling me. Let me stop and restart again. Sorry. Now, can you see that now?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, please let me know. This is good. I really appreciate it because I can't really tell if you guys. In any case, here I have only my name. It's opening in the browser like any other. You see, there's a lot of stuff that I use. They are just like any other web page. You know, there's all of those are web pages, by the way. Okay, and this was just a simple web page right in here. Moreover, okay, if you let me play with it a little bit. You know, I'm putting a space here, some empty page rows, and you will see mostly in certificate two, we spend more time on HTML, although logically people spend a lot of their time in certificate one when they're taking courses. I think that there's much more before you get into learning web pages and all of that. You really should understand the concept well. I'm going to write my last name. Okay. Moreover, I can make the paralis to be much bigger, but that's really a syntax. H1 is just telling the website, show paralis really in a big letter. And that's not the sessions today to really teach you HTML. Okay. But this is, by the way, a website. How do I know? I'm saving it. You see, I'm going back to the website and refresh my screen and see what happened. Emo stays small. Baranes becomes to be bigger because I just manipulated my web page. Okay. Moreover, let's go into, again, let's even look at this one. This is really much more sophisticated. If I do a right click, if you do it on your computer, you can do the same. You always receive view page source. It shows you the HTML. Okay. Okay, there's a lot. Usually there will be much more than the one I just showed you. And whoever takes certificate 2 and 3 in Academy City, we go into much deeper and we really learn a lot of very powerful stuff. But I think certificate 1 is the most valuable for every student. By the way, you can see it's really starting HTML. Here they're just mentioning that the language will be English. You can have any language, by the way. I skipped a lot of things intentionally just to show how simple it could be, but see how complicated it could be. Many things you don't really do it the way we, and there's a lot of script, like programming, other programming language, blah, 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 but that's less important. The first most important thing is to realize a web page is nothing but a text file. That's what I really wanted to emphasize today. This is a web page and it is nothing but a text file like this one. And I can make it much more complex. I can make a table. I can make a lot of things. I can put images. I can put a lot of things depending on how do I write it. But in the end of the day, it is a text file. Okay? Now let's go back to our trying to find it. Here we go. Where's my other one? Here we go. I want to go to here. Okay, we talked about the web page. Web page is really a page that I see information. That's why we call it presentation layer. On the other hand, the data itself doesn't sit in the page. If you see that this one Okay, I'm not going to put all this information here, but usually I will do, I will have another place to keep the data. For example, in the web page that I just showed you before, all this data, okay, it's kept somewhere. It's kept in a database. So what is a database? That's a very valuable question. In fact, make a lot of sense to ask that question. What is a database? A database, for us simple today at least, and also in the future, until you get to a higher level, this is really a collections of tables. Okay, you can think about it as like a lot of Excels. But the difference between Excel to a collections of tables is then in the collections of tables, we make some links between them. We connect them. So things like what you see here in an Excel like this one, in which one field might be connected to another one. Let me see if I can get some. See, this is a huge table, okay? And sometimes I need data. If you look cost of capital, okay? You can, this is another table. If you go into here, this one is connected to another Excel. But this is really a primitive way of doing things. In a database, you really connect between the tables in a much more sophisticated, organized, efficient, which makes the operation on the data very, very fast. So we will learn a little bit about databases. By the way, you can take several courses. People make a whole career of understanding how a database are working. In my opinion, those days, you don't really need it. It will be a waste of your time. I even wrote a book in 2012 on a book called Business Intelligence, which use heavily on databases. I wouldn't teach that books today. Okay, that book really belongs to 10 years ago. Today, what we will do in this course will give you the foundation in a little bit less than 2 sessions. We learn about the links between tables. And after you know that, we will learn in much more sophisticated ways. We will use the second layer to even create tables, create links between them, and use them. So this layer will allow us, the logical layer, which is the Python language, will help us to create tables in the database, will help us to create links between them. And if somebody in the presentation layer will want to see some data, so what will be the logic? And please, this is very important concept. Okay, and that's really the highlight of today's session. Somebody wants to see data. You want to see, for example, this page that I just showed you, this page. Somebody clicks here, it chooses the company. I chose the company. That means I'm saying, oh, can you show me the data about this company? Anybody likes a company? How about Apple? Anybody? Apple company? Let's say the Apple. Here we go, Apple Inc. I want to see the data of Apple. I chose the Apple. Bingo, I see the data of Apple. There's some missing data. N8 is missing. I have to fix it and fix the data. But most of the data is here. Oh, I got the data. So what the process? How is that happen? And that's really what we want to understand. So let's look at it. Okay, in the web page, I clicked and I chose give me the data for Apple. Correct? That's what I did. That was the first things I did. Let me just move it slightly here so I can see it better. Okay, this request, in fact, behind the scene, you can't really see it on the screen, goes to this layer. This layer means somewhere on the internet. And we will go over that, of course, not today, but we definitely will understand how it works. I will demonstrate it. In fact, I am demonstrating here that it goes to here. And this one, oh, That guy wants the data for Apple. So the logical layer goes to the database and pull the data of Apple. So the logical layer received. So let's see what's happening in the in the logical, which is really the most important element. Receive the request. Okay, that's stage number one. After it's received the request, stage number two, pull the data from the database, meaning it goes, after you receive this request from the presentation, it goes to the database. Pull the data from the database, and now the data in the database is not organized as a web page. So what it does is really preparing a web page preparing a web page. And after I prepare the web page, it's in a way that I can see it's in the browser, in the Chrome. And last things after it's preparing it is sending it back to the user. Send the page to the user. Okay, so you can think about it. I'm here on my computer. I'm requesting by click, let's say Facebook. Let's see if I have Facebook here. Facebook. Here we go. I want the data for Facebook. Okay, Facebook. Let me try that again. Facebook. Here we go. I click on Facebook. Oh, by clicking, I'm really asking the logical layer, please bring me the data. The data is very nicely organized in a database, and we will learn in the course. The logical layer, which is the Python program, a programming language, see the request, goes to the database, pull the data from the database for Facebook, prepare a web page, because this is a web page in such a nice, look like a table, and send it to me. Okay, now I get that page, I open it, it's open in the Chrome, and I see the data of Facebook. And this is, as we said, this is the presentation layer. We don't really see the database, and we don't really see the programming language, but we're going to see it in the course. I'm going to show you a little bit on what you installed and what I have for Academy City. By the way, I'll just show you a little bit this project that I'm just showing you right now, okay? So this project has a lot of things. It's really similar to the way you install it, and in a second, I'm going to have one of you share your screen, and I will show you that in fact, even a big, huge site as Academy City, and Academy City is quite big website. Okay, you will see as you learn more and more, you see there's a hell of a lot of things that we build there. The bottom line, there is some structure, a very well organized structure. This layer in which we put the code, this is the logical part. A lot of the code we will learn, we will see, it's right here. This is a language called Python. And we'll learn a little bit. You're not going to be expert after one course. And as you go along, you learn more and more. And you're not going to start with huge programs, but you learn step by step. By the way, the application that I just showed you about corporate valuation, it's really just one of them. Okay, the one that I just showed you, this is the corporate valuation. This is the logical layer for the application corporate valuation. But we have a lot of them. We have, for example of check cashing. This is a program that Daniel have done heavily, and Jeremiah and the whole team. If you go to Academy, in fact, if you type here cash, cash checks. Am I spelling it right, Daniel? Is that right, Daniel? Can you hear me, Daniel? I forgot the name of the website. This is the name, isn't it? Cash checks near me.
No,
How do you?
no, you miss there is you
H.
misspelled check. Check should be CH.
Yeah, you're right. Checks. That right now? Oh, let me try it again.
Yes, that's
Cash checks near me. I think this is the way. Is that right? Yeah. And see how beautiful it is. In fact, this is a whole website that Daniel and Brenda and Jeremiah and all the team in Academy City have created. But this is really much more sophisticated than most of the websites you will see. And we'll get into that. I will show you examples. Okay. And this is a real life website of a company in Chicago that have several locations. And this is really nice. The whole thing is a database driven, meaning if they would have another location, they would be able to just add some line in a database, you'll have more locations. That sentence might not be clear to you now, but it will be clear as you take the course. If I click here, I will see more information about that location. Okay, and that's the whole thing that was designed by the team in Academy City. This is another things, by the way. You can click here. It's a really actual working website and that we just done. But there's many of them that we have done, and you will see as we go along, you will be able to see more examples. Just one more, Academy City. By the way, that's our website. What did I misspell? Probably. Okay. By the way, we're already working on redesigning this website. And one of the things that I put to myself, I really like and I enjoying the fact that the student of Academy City has the ability today to redesign this website. So by the way, if we go here and we type the letter E, you can try it at home. That's going to be, we're redesigning the whole things. I'm meaning to the students of Academy City. In fact, Daniel, is that right, Daniel? Daniel?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, who is designing this one? Who is working on redesigning the whole things?
It is us.
Boy, you, Jeremiah, and that's beautiful because finally I feel, honestly, we got to the point that Academy City is creating itself. We have a very good team, and part of the way we're going to teach this course is I'm not going to give just a lecture and that's going to be the end of it. It's going to be that you will be working with the team itself. So each one of you will be connected to one of the consultant. If you have any issues, you want to understand some topic, I went too fast in any topic, they will help you. And that's really the way we start working and the team is going and getting better and better. And you really do have a very good team to help you. And I hope when you finish this course and whoever is continuing with us to certificate 2 or certificate 3, what becomes to be like the mentor for the next generation. And that's the way it's going to go. Okay. So this is just, for example, one way of another web page they are working on. Another web page they already have finished, by the way, and we're waiting to maybe get a customer that would be using this web page. By the way, all those web pages are very sophisticated and have a lot of capabilities. And the beauty is that I'm not the one that's leading anymore. It's really the team. And Hope to see you and others taking part of it. And as I started today the session, this is one level higher. This kind of a website, it is much higher. In fact, I really shouldn't call it a website. This is a web application. This is a web application because beside showing you the data and allow you to modify, it does a lot of calculation and it does valuation. Okay, there's a lot of by the way, there's missing data. But if I will fix the data, by the way, just for demonstration purposes, I'll just put zeros here everywhere. This website, it really is not just a website. It's much more than that. It is really a web application. And making a web application, it's much more sophisticated than just doing let me just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show this one. By the way, now if I go to the Facebook, you will see, you will be able to do all the calculation. It goes here and do the whole calculations, okay? If the interest is zero, it will give me a very, whoever studies some finance can understand those concepts, okay? I won't get into that, but it really allowed me to choose stuff. It does the calculation automatically, a lot of calculation based on the company. And whoever really took a course in finance can big time appreciate how do we do evaluation on Facebook. It has also something called simulation. A lot of concepts, they don't mean much to you now, but as you progress in your academic life, you will appreciate it. Anybody that studies engineering, finance, management, medicine, whatever, this is really tools you will need in order to be able to make an application. This is not Excel, by the way. It's really not Excel. And the beauty, it's really interactive. I can change the numbers here and you will see the numbers. The bottom line here will change. The 146 will change. If I change it to 7, you will see the number automatically, just like as if it was Excel. It is not Excel, okay? This is a much higher level than a regular web pages that I gave. Looks fancy, nice, but this one doesn't have the ability to do calculations. It's very nice. Most of the websites that you see on the internet are like that, okay? But they are even simpler than the one that we actually do in Academy City, okay? This is the basic stuff, we call it. And on top of it, you can do even calculation and manipulation. Whoever goes to a higher education, this is really a must know knowledge to get to this higher level or above, okay? All those stuff really is, this one doesn't have comparable, so it will be empty. Anyway, so let's summarize what we really learned today. A web application has 3 layers. Has a database, has programming language, the one we're gonna learn, it's Python. Python receive data, receive request from the presentation layer. Go to the database, pull the data, prepare a web page, and send it back to the user, okay? What I will do now, I will stop, okay? I will stop the show. And Daniel or anybody maybe can take who has the installation, Brenda, of the Trades website?
Liam.
Oh, Liam, why don't you go
Liam
ahead?
Liam has everything.
Liam, go ahead, sweetie. Show your screen. Oh, beautiful. Why don't you go to the PyCharm, open the PyCharm. Let me say a comment. What is PyCharm? PyCharm, in fact, it's an editor. It's something that will help us to write in Python. I'll repeat that sentence. PyCharm is really like a program that allows me to write to write in Python. In fact, it also will help me to write almost in anything. So all the writing we will do in PyCharm. Okay, so this is really the program. So how about Liam? Okay, let's close the whole thing. Can you give me a control? By the way, one of the reasons I teach this way, because I really do believe in order to know something, you really have to experience. You have to really see it. So every one of you has this one installed on his computer. We will learn all the stuff. I'm not really teaching any technical knowledge today. That's what we'll do. We'll have enough time. Today, I want you to absorb those three concepts I mentioned before. Okay. By the way, I don't know why I can't really control Liam. Can you go ahead, Liam, and type in the bottom in the terminal Python manage py run server? You remember that command? And enter. What really Liam does is really using a command in Python, okay? And I'm gonna enter one more concept for today, and that's what it'll be. Okay, now when he clicks on what it says 127.0.0.1.8000, can you click on it? In fact, you already have on your computer, you have a program. And this is really a web page, like any other web page, by the way. And we will see as we go along. You have a browser on the left. By the way, you don't have the icon here. We'll see why. We'll fix it. Okay. How about you click on the, I like the one that I like to do. Why don't you click on the toolbar on the top, to do, on the to do. This is my favorite website. Why is it my favorite website? I'll explain. Not because of the nice picture there. It's because it's so simple, but it has everything that almost all websites are made of, which is, entering data. Why don't you write something, Liam, in where it says enter a message? Just write something. And usually it's a good one. When you started something new, you always start with hello world. But see, Liam now is writing something on a web page. By the way, it's sitting on his computer. On his computer, by the way, he installed a database. If you recall, maybe you recall, we installed for you the Postgres. Postgres is the database we're using. Just a word on Postgres. Postgres is a free database, extremely powerful. Big companies are using it, okay? Very, very big companies. Okay, Netflix, and in a minute I will make a comment on that, okay? It's a beautiful database. So that's the one we're using here. And Liam just typed something on the web page and is clicking on the submit button. And what happened? See, so how nice it is. Really a lot happened. When he clicked on the submit, it really went to the database. In fact, before it went to the database, it went to the logical layer of Python. Python received, it looked at this as a request. When Liam clicked on the submit, it really asked the Python, can you please put the data that I just typed in, meaning the hello world, put it in the database. Okay, Python put it in the database, but the submit had a second request. Can you please resend this page with whatever in the table in the database? In the table, we have hello world. So in fact, when Liam clicked on submit, he requested two things. He asked the Python, please put the data in the database. And secondly, show me the page again and show me with all the lines in the tables. So if I go now, let's see if I can type here, okay? And now I would say, hi, everyone, okay? Now, when I click on submit, I'm asking this little program, please put the data in the database and show me everything in the table, meaning what I'm putting and also what Liam put before me. So let's see what happened now. Oh, nicely. You see, he really did put, in fact, if you look at the bottom now, he put what Liam said first and then what I typed in. So in the database, we really do have two records. Let's say, what do I mean database? I said it's a table. Let me just show that to you so you can believe me. I'm going to go here again and we will learn, by the way, everything we're doing today is just for demonstration purposes, okay? We will learn everything as we go along. So there is one place you can go and there is something special and that will be the last thing that I want to cover today to show you what I'm really using. I will use it first and then I will explain. There's a nice website, really, it's, by the way, you can tell is the same number, 127, and we will understand what that means in the future classes. But there is something called admin, and it showed me a nice table. And if you look at that, there is one of them should say to do. Okay, there is something called to do, by the way. And you can see there is something called items. By the way, the items is a table. I click on it, and oh, no surprise. This is what Liam have written. Sorry, this is what Liam have written. This is what I wrote. Meaning, when I really wrote something on this page, and when Liam wrote something here, it did go to Python, and Python made sure to put it in the database. By the way, this is a way we can see what in the database, an easy way. But we will learn a lot of ways. Okay, let's try it one more time. Okay, let's type another one. Third, let's write a third attempt or a third hello. Okay, and now when I submit, I said it does two things. Why did hello? Okay, I'm clicking on submit. Is putting it into the table and show it to me everything that's in the table. So in the table now, there should be 3 lines. I have to refresh the page. If I will refresh the page, here we go. We got the third one. This is the actual table. It's sitting in a database called Postgres. Postgres, you will hear that word a lot in the course. It's organizing all my tables. For now, this is one table for the application to do. We'll see a lot of applications. This is just one of them. Why do I like that simple application? And we'll learn it as when we get to that point, because it does everything. The whole cycle. It's allow me to put things in the database, and after I put in the database, it's presenting it. So Python is doing 2 things: putting this in the database and pulling the whole things from the table and showing it to me. That's pretty cool. So this is really one of the first major application we learn, and we'll learn how we do it in Python. And now the whole framework that you're seeing here is called Django framework. What do I mean by Django? And let me say, before I would even dive into it, Django, in fact, is nothing but a way that somebody have took Python, have written a lot of code, have written a lot in Python and make a nice order. So it makes the life of writing a web application easier. So I can say a Django, it's nothing but collections of code in Python, such that we have a nice order to make a web application and make our life very easy. What do I mean by that? Let's go back to the pie chart of Liam. There is a really nice order here. It looks like not organized for now, but it really does. You can see We start with Cert. This is the project. Under that, we're organizing all the applications. We talk about them as we go along. Then we have something called media. By the way, this is the places we put pictures. We put a lot of things. And the beautiful thing is that Python, I should really say Django, which is written with Python, make my life very easy to put the stuff in the right place so I don't get lost. Then there is some setting that we're organizing the whole project. Again, I'm not going to get into that today. There's something called static, very similar to the media. We will learn about them. Okay. And then there is templates. But there is a nice order that it's every project you can build any website as complex as possible. It's always organized this way. The names, you might give it different names, but you always will organize this with applications. We'll have several here. DB-Links will be an application. We talk about it. I just was demonstrating the to-do application. I was demonstrating the to-do application, but there could be a lot of them. In Academy City, we have a ton of them, okay? By the way, Uganda Towns is a whole application, which is almost a standalone. It is a standalone website, okay? So this structure is very nicely organized. There is a team of Django that they took the language Python, have made a structure, and that structure is Django. It's not the movie, by the way, although the movie is beautiful, but it has nothing to do with this Django. And we will learn every application what the meaning of this structure. We will learn, you will see files are not just coincident. We don't just give them a coincident names. You can see there is some order under every application. So it would be so easy. By the way, this is a very nice application. Game Store, that will be one of your exam or your test. We'll talk about it. But see, all of them has a view. This one has a view. This one has a view. They have URLs, all the application. Who did it? The people that written Django. Okay, they made an order, and that order is very valuable, extremely valuable, make life so much easier. Okay, so we learned also the last concept for today. I'll be very happy to hear questions, guys, and really wishing you good luck. Let me just stop this one. Let me see you guys. If you have questions, more than welcome, guys. Okay, this is a good timing. I hope you got a picture what this course is all about. Is that clear, Salah, Laura?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I will finish by, I will give you even an exercise. It's already an exercise. Just go online and write on Google companies using Django. Let me even write it for you and go and look into that. Let me share my screen for a second. Just give you an idea why this framework it's so powerful, because you will see huge companies using it. If you look at companies, what happened? Okay, okay, you can see, you gotta really look into it here, top 10 Django application. This is like companies that using it, but let me look at that, here we go. And please go and look at it. This company, I don't really know that much. Maybe you guys do. Anybody know this company? This Quest should be a big company if they put it here. But Instagram, everybody using Instagram, is that right? Laura, using Instagram? Okay, Instagram website is written with Django.
Yeah.
By the way, Instagram is written with Django. Same framework we're gonna use in this course. Spotify is a very big company, okay, for music and a lot of things. Most likely should know it, okay? It's written YouTube. Who doesn't use YouTube? YouTube website, it's written with Django. Okay, Washington Post, one of the biggest publisher, okay, written with Django. Okay, please do search. It's very important. You know, I spent so much. This one I don't really know Bitbucket. In fact, I do, but I'm not really. Okay, but Dropbox, the website is Django. Okay, Mozilla. By the way, it's a big company for browser and a lot of things that they do. Crazy, you know, all these web presentation written in Django. Just give you a sense to how important. By the way, I was just mentioned in Academy City, we really took one more step. We also use Django CMS. So there's Django, and on top of it, there's a CMS, which is content management system. And as you go, when you get to certificate two, a little bit in certificate one, I will demonstrate why contact management is also a very powerful feature, which make your life much easier, and you can make application. Please pay attention, and I say always web application. That's different than website. Website is like regular website that you 90% of what you see on the internet. But web application is much more powerful for analytical reasons, for a lot of other reasons. Okay, I think this is what summarize our first course for motivation and understanding where we're going from here. Next session will be about databases. And the following session also, we talk a little bit about databases, and I will start after that introducing Python. After we learn Python basic stuff in Python, we will start learning the structure of Django. Studying Django is really studying Python, because Django is written in Python. So you will learning Django, you're really learning Python. So most of the course will be about Python. Toward the end, we will talk about HTML a little bit, because after all, that's the way we're presenting. We spend a lot of time on the logic of Django, how it works, so you will master it, and then your life will be really, really much nicer and easier to dive into. Whoever takes machine learning with us, it's a course that I have taught in Ivory Coast. In fact, I taught machine learning 1 and machine learning 2. This software engineering course 1, it's such a viable thing for machine learning. Although in machine learning, we spend most of the time on mathematical issues, manipulation of the data, but you can't really do it without doing Python in a right way. Okay, thank you guys. Questions before we conclude? Questions, Salah, Laura? Mildred, questions, guys? How are you doing, Laura? Laura, any questions? Liam?
No question.
Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. And see you next week. Okay?
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.